Hi, my name is Joe LaRocca, and I am WinCam's production manager, as you might know. Tonight we are doing a special show called The Pitch. This show is basically us videotaping our producer meetings. Because what we've done in the past is had producer meetings, but we felt like it was necessary to involve the whole community in some of these show ideas because we realized that these people could potentially help us a great deal. So why keep our ideas just a few people in a room when we could open up the lines of communication to everybody in Winchester who could potentially, help out making a show as good as it can possibly be. Some people don't have all the time it takes to produce a show from start to finish, and maybe our hope is that this will build a community of people who become networked on these ideas. If you hear a show proposal idea that you really like, you can email us at the pitch at wincam.org. That's THEPITCH at wincam.org. If you have any suggestions or any comments on these ideas we're going to be talking about for the next half hour. So at first I'd just like to introduce who's here. We have Linda Doucette. Say hi, Linda.
Hi.
Tom Thorndycraft.
How you doing?
Joe Villone, as you might know from Visual Radio and the such.
Hello.
He's hidden a little bit behind Kevin.
Good.
Kevin,
I like
there's
being hidden.
Kevin. He's our intern kind of guy. And so look at us all there. We're the producers at WinCam. There are many more of us, but this is how many are here tonight. So we have a lot of different topics, so let's just get to it. So again, just so you guys understand, you think of something, or some way of improving the show idea we've come up with, or you want to be involved in some way, as simple as anything from being a cameraman to maybe some sort of special consultant. That's a lot of if you have some special knowledge about one of the things we're doing a show on, you might be interested in helping us out and giving us some information. I guess we won't start with that one. We have many strong ideas, but the one I will start with is something that Joe Villone's been talking about for a while. If you don't mind, if you could talk about, you've brought up in the meeting before this some sort of pet rescue show. How would you do that? What was your plan there?
Thank you, Joseph. And I thought that this, I'll just preface it by saying I thought this was a meeting. I didn't know we'd be on the air.
Oh, we are on the air.
Here we are. So that's cool. But it's unique. It's a great idea because now we're documenting all this stuff. A lot of great ideas went into the other.
Yeah, because that's what happens is that people say something about it and then nobody in those 3 or 4 people have any connection to muscle cars or something. But somebody at home might have 8 muscle cars and be dying to make a show about it. So we're getting it out to you, whichever camera I'm on.
Back in 2005, I think it was. 2005 it was. Anderson Cooper, 360, had a special on the pets of war. The pets around these, where the soldiers are going off to Afghanistan and Iraq, and Hinesville, Georgia's one area. In California, they have another. Wherever the troops are, probably even Fort Devens, the troops don't know when they're going. They get called up pretty quickly.
Right.
And within 3 days, they're going. And they have dogs and cats that they've been living with. And they kind of like let them go out into the woods. They don't have family that can pick them up. And they just let their animals that they love go. The animals get slaughtered. Slaughtered at an enormous rate. It's such a point where in my main email box, I get about 15 to 20 postings of 30 to 40 animals. I mean, there's just hundreds and thousands that get slaughtered on a daily basis. So, 6 years ago, we decided to do this. And Harriet Schock, the songwriter, and the late Moogie Klingman, who died last month, did PSAs for us.
Okay.
Pet Adoption USA, Pet Adoptions USA. Well, that's not a real company yet, but I was thinking of calling the show Pet Adoption USA.
Right.
So that was the title, and we have Moogie Klingman and Harriet doing that. So Pet Adoption USA would be us kind of connecting people who want pets with animal rescue.
Right. And so what would be on the physical show? What would you show? You bring the animals in or?
Well, because they're all over the country. Now, that brings up a very good point. There are so many cats and dogs and ferrets and, believe it or not, bunny rabbits and snakes and all sorts of things and parrots that people are giving up. These animals will die unless people find homes for them. And there are a lot of homes. And I'll give you a great case in point. If you ever see an animal they do like 30 cats are going to get euthanized in or dogs in a gas chamber. And when one survives, and this happens once in a while, a dog survives the gassing, everyone wants to adopt the one that survived. So because it gets in the newspaper, and then they get 50 requests for this animal. What I'm trying to get out is, hey, this animal is going to go through the heart stick. And a heart stick is how they kill them efficiently, cost-effectively, and very painfully. So they inject them in the heart. It's very gruesome. Once we get this out and people realize what's happening, then we can get adoptions going. Now, they want us to keep it Massachusetts if we're here.
Yeah.
But I don't see why we can't ship tapes down to Hinesville, Georgia, and California if we're finding them on Pet Finder. Oh, you know, look at these. They're having a crisis in Kentucky. And we know there's a crisis, and yes, we're Boston, but we're going to coordinate with Kentucky Access Television with our show because we're doing it, and we can put it up, what's it called, PEG something?
Yeah, well, that's one thing. There's a thing called PEG Media, which is other access shows put their shows up onto there so that basically all the access stations in the country can, it's what we call bicycle shows. So yeah, if somebody in Gainesville, Florida has a great show about disc golf, we might play it, and then that's a good form. And something like that's universal, that'd be good because you'd be helping more than just the Winchester community, where I'm sure people know where they can get a adopted pet, but I think that having a show, like especially a weekly show of just two people who work there, right, or who are involved in it, just holding up picture after picture, I feel like over a couple weeks you're going to be like, man, there are so many pets that you shouldn't buy from a thorough, from a breeder when there's all these animals that you're basically saving a life if you get it from a pound.
And here's something that we could do called pet trade. Since they don't want us adopting from other states and bringing them here, we could do pet trade, meaning if there's a beautiful animal that's rare, that's up here in Massachusetts, and someone you said Gainesboro, Florida, wants that animal, we do a trade where we get an animal from out of state and they get to adopt our animal in state, and we swap them. There's fees for the flights, or there are also these couriers that bring animals up and down the East Coast. So we would help coordinate through animal rescue up and down the East Coast this kind of situation.
Well, what do you know, Linda, about this I know Norman.
Yeah, I know that the transfer station has
what is
some
the state of that pound?
That there's a group that takes care of the cats that are.
There's cats at the transfer station?
We don't. Is that pound that's at the transfer station used?
Oh no, that's something different. Yes, they do have when they have the dog catcher in town, and when they find a dog that's loose, but I would say 99% of the time they do manage to find the owners, and it's a pet that's gotten away.
Yeah, that's some just dog run down the
But
street.
they do have a issue with the cats, and there's a group that comes in, and I'm sorry, I
think it's Kitty Connection.
They
You don't
come
think
in and they feed them, and they try to catch them eventually, and then take
It's
'em.
probably Kitty Connection. Now, we can actually start with that, with the cats here and with the dog pound.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it would be
keep
to
it
start local, and then
Once we achieve a certain thing, we can go to PEG Media and tell everyone, hey, we got this great animal rescue show, and we will put up from Pet Finder. We can even have Crisis USA, big crisis in Kentucky this week.
Right, exactly. Like like it could be predominantly Massachusetts-based show, but when you can do like a special section or whatever, and even just that special section. Let's say that's only 15 minutes of the show. We could just put up that part. That's a U.S. for everybody in the U.S. Or, that's just one of the many options. I like that one. I think we should move on to another one though, not to end the conversation on that.
Yep.
Now remember, if anybody is interested or has knowledge of pet rescuing things, although we have our contacts here, if you know anything more or like to be involved in that, it's The Pitch. There it is, right on the screen, right below me. The Pitch at wincam.org. So send anything along. We will be checking that as the week goes on, and we'll send it back. And next time we have the show, we'll talk about them. Maybe you'll even be here. Wouldn't that be crazy? Okay, so that show there's one in the can. I'm going to go to you, Linda.
Sure.
You came in with a great idea. And I'll just preface it all by saying the first thing that Linda wanted to make sure that the show is just not news or political based, because I think a lot of people agree that we have that covered on WinCam. Mainly it's because a lot of the great every single day kind of shows that a lot of these groups put out, they are political or they are news based. So we do have a little bit much of that. So Linda said I want to do something fun and live.
Yeah.
So tell them about your idea.
I love live shows. My idea is to do a show about a diner, and it's keep it simple, but have a lot of diner background, but have like maybe.
Is it what genre of show would you say it is?
Yeah, I want it funny.
Comedy.
I want it comedy. Yeah.
Okay.
I want it, and maybe have a waitress and a regular who comes in and just a discussion. Just it could be a local discussion. It could be just just keep
Something
it light and
topical or
funny.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But funny.
But funny, yes.
Yeah.
Not
Not
any intense
serious.
issues yet.
If it's serious, it can.
And so, how many people? There would be 2 people on the show
Two people.
per time.
Just 2 people.
And so there would be and would it always be the same waitress or
Nope,
cook?
could
or?
be a cook, could be a waitress, could be a waiter, could be, I don't, different,
So some of the things we were talking about would be like some sort of intro where it's coming into it, so it's like a very much, you feel like you're in a diner and all
Yeah.
the sound effects are clinking pots and pans
Right.
and stuff like that.
yeah.
And
You could replay our public domain movie on the TV screen as if the TV's in the diner.
yeah, we should put a TV in the corner and play WinCam
Yeah,
on the TV in the
yeah,
corner,
yeah,
and then also do
exactly.
the
It
show.
could be,
That's
yeah.
not a bad idea.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know, Tom. What do you think about? I mean, what other? Because I feel like I don't feel like we've defined what the purpose of the show is. I think we defined it better when we were talking about this before. I don't know. What's another way to describe it in terms of? Well, I think maybe
Well,
an example.
I think it would be a show to keep people informed of local events.
Yeah, it
Right.
could be a local
You know,
event,
and
it could be,
it would be somewhat on the comical side,
Yeah.
of course.
Right.
But again, it would be a comedy and an informative.
Yeah.
we are
So
certainly,
it wouldn't be a news show.
right.
Right.
It would be based on like a real life kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really think that
like
that's
how
a
you
very cool
feeling
idea.
today,
Yeah.
Joey? And
Yeah. So it's like a little play scene, basically.
Yeah.
It's like a little
Mhm.
scene from a play. And then the thing I like about it is that I think it is very manageable, because when sometimes we get ideas that are really big and it'll work, but it won't work on a weekly basis, because we don't have the time to just, and people in their schedules don't have the time just to, produce a weekly show of large caliber. But I think, what were some of the other things? And so like for an example that we had would be that Linda would be working behind the counter and Tom would come in and he was a trucker. And
Yep.
he could talk about what's been going on in the highways and talk about 93.
Yeah, talk about Forest Street.
What's on Forest Street?
Nothing.
That's how you know that for sure then? Okay.
Yeah.
So some sort of trucker-based humor would be good. No, but I also like the idea that then somebody could come in. Like, I like the idea that it's the same group of people, like, every time, or
Yeah.
one person the same. But I think it's very cool how if somebody couldn't do it, you could always put somebody else in. Now, that's another part of the structure that we do need to talk about for this show is, and we discussed a little bit, is like, it's going to be kind of a blurred line between a written show and a complete improv. Because we've learned that complete improv, you have to be a genius. It's someone will just be like, here's a shoe, and then you gotta it's crazy, We're all really funny people, especially you, Kevin. Even though you don't try so hard, you make me laugh every day. But you know what I mean? I think that,
Like
what did
a-
we come down with?
a
Some sort of
storyboard.
outline
A
or
storyboard.
storyboard is the
Story.
Storyboard.
And so that would basically be like, we would try and have the points that we'd want to hit.
But that storyboard, in a way, would be the same and not the same every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the format would be kind of the same, but then depending on the issue and the situation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it would change.
Yeah, I mean, we would try and have the first 5 minutes be, this kind of thing. It would be, for pacing.
Yeah.
Would be the big issue, because you don't want to either talk about nothing in 30 minutes because
Right.
you spaz out and you can't think of anything to say, and you just ramble. Or the other way, you have a lot of good things to say, and you spaz out and you say them in 10 minutes.
Or, maybe you could do is have, not exactly a soap opera, but maybe a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One episode.
That's a good idea.
And then the cliffhanger,
Yeah.
and then the next episode, okay, everything's cool, and then we'll go back on to, something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could this is the diner, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You could have pizza wars. You have Main Street Pizza, Joe's Main Street Pizza, and Andrea's, and everyone like argues over which is better. And really up-
Could be, yeah, it could be
That's
a-
it. I like that one.
Yeah,
You
it
bring
could
them
be
both
a
in.
discussion about food. It could be
Well, you
basket
bring them
stuff.
in like
Yeah.
subtly. They don't realize that, like for the show, they obviously realize it, but on the show, as the fiction part of the show,
Right.
is like they don't realize that they're going to be clashing and they hate each other.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they want to delicately not argue, and then the hosts are like, "Boy, this is really great pizza," when they want to really upset one of them.
Yeah, just to push
Just-
them in a different direction.
And then you could do it with other diners around here. So you take two of the
Yeah.
same thing, Starbucks and Dunkin', and they would love the PR.
Yeah. Or just even if
Well,
it.
people go into diners and bring their own coffee, so if somebody comes in and carries a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
funny. Be like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
that's
You
a
get a drink our
storyline.
cut.
That could be start a whole conversation.
That's one right there. And then somebody
So-
else, and then another idea too would be if we didn't have an idea that could make it a full episode, that person could leave and somebody else could come in at some
Right.
point in the show.
Yeah.
Like just pay their
I
tip
just
and
don't-
leave, because then somebody else and the next person come in with the Starbucks, and be like, what are you doing? Or that could be the cliffhanger or whatever.
Yeah.
I could come in with a monkey, and then we talk about the pet
I was gonna-
adoption show.
I was gonna think.
You dress like a monkey, and you come in on a leash.
Oh, I think it's a great idea, Kevin.
I was thinking like
The role you were made for.
Sorry.
No.
I had the same idea, like bring like an animal in and tell a story.
Yeah, like a Jack Hammond kind of thing.
No, like let's take this like if I brought in
A badger. A possum.
no
Ferret.
Bullfrog.
Ferret.
I said bullflog.
a turtle.
Yeah, you brought in a turtle and you put it on the table.
I brought in a turtle, and I agreed. This amphibian saved my life.
It's it
And
is
I
an
would point to
amphibian.
the sign that says no pets allowed.
And then you could bring it to the diner and we can make turtle soup out of it. It's
Oh,
all of them are tying
no,
together.
no.
They just
No,
found
they-
turtles that were being
know.
in the Philippines. They just nabbed people trying to smuggle them.
That's actually
I heard about that.
Yeah.
every for the past like 3 months on the Wonderful Show, every opening monologue has had jokes about people trying to get reptiles and turtles over the border.
All right, so I
By
think we
putting them in
should
their
move
pants.
on to another show.
Yeah, I guess now that we're talking about turtles in the pants, questions things we'd like people to help us out on with the diner is topics. People who are comically inclined who maybe would want to be a performer on that show. We also talked about possibly having an audience, actual live audience. That'd be great, even if it were just a handful of people. And then also, we would always need, if it gets to the level of building a set for it, might need help with the sets, and we always need camera people. So that's a good place to learn how to do a show. I think pretty much everybody here who was a producer started as a camera person. So you come in, you sit on the camera. After a few times, it gets boring, and then you make your own show. That's basically what happens. So,
You get inspired.
yeah, you get inspired. That's the nice way of putting it.
There you go.
Let us see. There is a couple ideas here. One is a show that is actually already been blueprinted and is coming, and this is the Inside Winchester. Because I bet a lot of people will have ideas like this, so I want people to know that we got this covered. Sidel Pitas and her husband, what's his name there? Philippe. Philippe are going to be doing a show. I don't know if you know them. They're nice Winchester people, and they're basically just going to be interviewing all the unique different they have them like that they know in Winchester, because they just made a list and they had 30 people. All have been won Nobel Prizes or played with Yo-Yo Ma or invented the speedboat or whatever. I don't know if that person lives in Winchester, but there are lots and lots of famous and/or people doing interesting things. So if anybody has that idea for a show, that's already in the works. So I want people to get ready, though. That's coming in 2012. Another idea that came up that was suggested by Tom that I like as a maybe once or twice a year, 4 times a year, maybe seasonal, it would be some sort of local talent show where we'd probably run it in the auditorium. But if we were going to do it live, well, there's a lot to be talked about this. There's the idea of a panel of judges, and I think we should talk about the pros and cons. So basically, the talent show would be anybody from first grade to 99 or whatever. Anybody could do anything, and maybe it'd be some sort of time limit, 5-minute time limit. You can do anything. You could do stand-up comedy. You could do a little bit of your play or dance or ventriloquism.
Bake a microwave cake in 5 minutes.
You could make a cake in 5 minutes, make a meal in 5 minutes. That'd be interesting. See how many push-ups you could do, juggle, yeah, all sorts of stuff like that, which is great. That's a great idea. But then morphing it into a show is where some of the discussion came from. Now, Linda, you didn't seem like you were very keen on the idea of having judges.
I know, and I'm not too.
And what's your reason?
I just think that people might be intimidated by knowing that they're going to be judged and.
But does not the judgment add a competitive nature which keeps people watching? Because they go, who's going to win? I want Garrett Kwan and his breakdancing to win. I want to beat that ukulele playing. You know what I mean?
What do you think?
What do you think? Do you think that adds competition, or do you think that it could get potentially mean-spirited?
I think it adds competition, but then who judges the judges? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Well, you know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Who
I
picks
mean, if I said, okay, Joe, you're gonna be a judge. Would you be a judge?
Judge not lest ye be judged, the Bible.
Touche.
I'll be a judge, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we would get somebody from like the music school and somebody from the newspaper and somebody.
That sounds like fun, yeah, getting media people.
I think, but I think, and I.
Patch on
and-
pitch, like you said.
Pitch
Yeah,
on
but
patch, yeah.
would that be, here's my opinion, would that be
Yeah.
a good call? If
I
you-
don't know.
Well, hear me out.
Yeah.
If you have a competition of people playing guitars,
Yes,
right, and your judges happen to be somebody from a music background,
Yep.
store, whatever, they of course would know
more about music.
more about music and have the ear for music to be a judge. But then what about your
And then there's
Talent.
average person who says, hey, I like that because this, not because
But I feel like
I
that's what
have
they
an
do
ear
on
for it,
American
you know what I'm
Idol.
saying?
I feel
I
like
mean,
they
no,
do that
that's-
on
that's
American
gonna
Idol.
be-
They pick like somebody who was a star, was in the industry, someone who is
Yeah.
like a reasonable judge, and then Hasselhoff or somebody who just is
no,
like
I'm,
the
I'm,
everyman.
I'm not
you know?
saying there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, but we'd have to
No.
make sure we did something like that, or it'd be unbalanced. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Or just who
I mean,
judges
if you
the
have
judges?
if you have people playing instruments for the entire show and you have 4 judges and one person, plays the same instrument as
Yeah.
someone in the show and another person has somebody, you know what I'm saying?
Or
Yeah.
a critic, you get Peter Gorelnik, the critic, if you can get him in from Newburyport. You get a great musician like Jerry Bourdoin from Berklee College of Music, or that woman that was in here in Music Closet.
Yeah.
She was from a Berkeley teacher.
Yeah, that's
So you
not
have
a
a
bad idea.
teacher, and then a local musician, and then just like you said, a journeyman, someone who just listens, who's a music junkie, just a fan who can't play a note.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
predefine those.
That's
When
exact-
they discuss it before the show, you kind of get the idea that this person's just a music.
You might even have it, music junkie.
Right, right.
You know?
I think
Yeah.
that's a cool idea. I think that the judging wouldn't be harsh. I think would be the goal. It would be encouraging still.
Of course.
It wouldn't be like that was terrible, or like
No,
you can't
no.
juggle moron.
No.
No, it wouldn't be like that at all. It would be with very
Kind.
kid gloves. I think. Yeah, only
Enthusiastic.
constructive criticism.
Enthusiastic.
And
Yeah.
you know what would be
Criticism.
really fun? Did you ever hear of Portsmouth Sinfonia?
What's that?
Okay.
You know Eno, who produced
Yeah, Brian
U2?
Eno?
Yeah, Brian Eno had this concept after he left Roxy Music, and he came out with Portsmouth Sinfonia. They might have done 2 albums. I have one. They do Also Sprach Zarathustra from
Yeah.
2001.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He takes professional musicians who have done it all their lives, and he puts in complete, not just amateurs, people who've never played a note before, and he combines them on this thing. So you can imagine the mayhem. You get this great sounding music, and all of a sudden, it's just I can hear it in my head. It'd be a wonderful thing, almost like a theme if we could use it, because
but
it's
then with like it's like the Winchester High School marching band trying to play.
added with professionals. Yeah, but you can hear it's like very slick, like John, what's his name did
Williams.
it? John Williams did it. Thank you, Bluesheimers. John Williams. And then you got the amateurs, so it's like, it sounds so cool. It would be a really good theme
Yeah.
if they're bad.
Yeah, if they're bad,
In
we
a
can-
nice way of getting them out.
I think it's a good idea, actually.
And then you have something really symphonic and sweet if they win. Or like it could be like some pop song that everyone knows is about a winner.
Yeah.
Everyone's a winner, babe. That would be-
Yeah. But it's somebody playing it who doesn't know how to play guitar. I could easily sign up for that one. We do only have 5 minutes left, so I would like to get to an idea that Kevin put out, and we'll recap everything before we go. So, if you have something you would like to say about one of the other shows, let's just wait till the very end. So, Kevin? What's this art show idea? Give me some feedback on what you think. It doesn't have to be fully formed or anything.
Well, what it is, get like local artists and talk about their art and kind of.
You're thinking of like painters and like that
Everything.
class traditional art
Yeah.
or anything?
Everything.
Okay.
Like all the above, and then have them like bring in like their pottery
Mhm.
or bring in their paintings, and then kind of
Like exhibit the art, yeah.
and then go to their studios and show them
Doing the work, yeah.
doing it.
I think that's a show that if you can get together, and this is something that we could use help from the public as well, is to get together, a list of 12 or so local artists that would be willing to do it. And then once that's all the legwork is beforehand, because then I think that you could, if you had them in here, interview them for a little bit, and then go over to their studio and cut together like a 30-minute show. I think that'd be cool. And the artist might want to do. There's a benefit to everybody. I think there. I could see why the artist would want to do it because it's exposure, and you can go, hey, check out my website and stuff like that. I think that there's definitely something there. What would it? The title would be WART. Winchester Art. That would be Wart, actually. Wart.
I'll think about that.
Or Win
Yeah,
Art.
that has to go.
Wart?
Yeah, no.
Come on, everybody, watch Wart.
Art
Watch
W.
Ward.
That's like an elf.
Art Winchester.
Art Winchester. Yeah.
Art W.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Art
makes-
Win.
That
Art
makes
Win.
more sense.
Art Win.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's go back over some of the shows. So we have the Art Show. which-
Art Twin.
Art Twin. Art Twin.
Our twin.
We're not calling it that either. That's insane
I'll
as
make
well.
something.
It could just be called
Art Winchester.
Local Artists
Yeah.
Get Together, Winchester, whatever. Okay. Inside Winchester, which is the Sidel Pita show about people you want to know. It's a show about people you want to know. Basically came out from the ideas of all the interesting conversations that they have. And they go, hey, we should tape these. Then the idea that I actually think has the most promise is, as of right now, is the diner. I think it's lends itself to both topical things and comedic things that are not too overwhelming. And I know that Tom has wanted to do an improv show for a long time, and I would love to do it. And it's something we talked about. I would really love to do a trivia show, and we've just talked about how, I know we have like 30 seconds. So, all right, well, we'll talk about all that stuff in upcoming weeks. Remember, email thepitch.wincam or at wincam.org if you want any comments about this, and I'm sure this will replay a few times between now and the next time. But probably next month you'll see if there's been any progress on any of these shows, and you can come in. Please do stop by. We got a brand new